Well, welcome, Felix, back to Montreal and the Montreal International Auto Show. We're excited to have you here on the Infiniti stand.
Yeah.
It's been a few months since we've last seen each other, and you've been in England working as a part of the Infiniti Engineering Academy. Tell me, how have the first few months gone so far?
Oh, it's gone very well. I'm learning a lot. It's the environment I'm thrown in is so intense, super passionate people, and what I'm learning it's unreal, and I could not have hoped for something better than that.
Excellent. Can you tell us a little bit about some of the surprises you've had so far working in the Infiniti Engineering Academy?
I knew it would be super complex, the whole an F1 team, but I think it was more complex than what I expected, actually. Like on the technical side, with pure technical on the car itself, but also how the team works, so all the structure and how the departments communicate, and that's one big part of it too. A big scale engineering company, that's quite awesome to be in it, and see how they do it.
Excellent. Well, you were the first Canadian winner of the Infiniti Engineering Academy.
Yeah.
How has your life changed in the 6 months since you won that competition right here in Montreal?
Well, I crossed the whole Atlantic, from Montreal to England, and I'm living with two other colleagues who are also Infiniti Academy winners. So I live an Australian and the Chinese winner also. So big cultural change. I've never met them before, and first day I get there, we meet each other, and suddenly we're gonna live together for 1 year. Sharing a car and all what's involved. So it's been quite a change from my life back here in Montreal, going to university day to day. Now everything's new. Every day at work I learn something new, and it's good. I have the time on the weekends. For sure, during the week it's work. But during the weekends I have time to sometimes explore London or explore Oxford.
Excellent. And what's been the biggest surprise or unexpected experience that you've had so far?
One thing that was really cool was I think the last race of the season, we had the cars on track in Brazil, and it was Friday test sessions, and we were on our computers, designing the next car, and we could see on our computer screens the TV shots from Brazil, and we had coverage, inside coverage from the team with cameras in the garage. So I think that was super cool to be working on on design of a new car, but you really feel part of the team and a race team. So it was a moment where I was like, wow, this is real. This is F1.
Excellent. And with the other 6 winners from around the globe of the Infiniti Engineering Academy, is there competition between the 7 of you, or do you feel more like a team?
Well, we feel like a team. We were all 7 part of the Infiniti Engineering Academy. For sure, we're closer to the ones we live with, but I'd say we work with them, so it needs to stay professional, even though you're back at home and stuff. So I think we're friends. We get along very well.
And can you tell me a little bit about what your day-to-day life is like working with the Renault Sport F1 team?
Waking up when it's dark and going back home when it's dark.
Let me tell you, that's the same everywhere, Felix.
Okay, yeah. But no, more seriously, so we get to work at around 8, and normally the first few hours in the morning is the most productive, right? So my projects I work with, I do a lot of computer design, so I work on CATIA, designing the parts of my project. So that's what I'll do most of the day, and then we have meetings with our group and our department every so often. So a lot of detail work. There's so much detail work that goes into making those F1 cars. It's crazy. I don't think, I was a big fan of F1 before I was there, and I didn't imagine it to be that complex and that involved, and then you see it on the computer, everything is modeled, like the wires, everything down to the electrical loom in the car is on the computer, So yeah, so we spend a big amount of our day just, making sure everything's right, doing all the details, and yeah, so that's
now
most of the day.
you mentioned you were a big F1 enthusiast before, and you had a great story I remember from the actual contest that we had here in Montreal for the Infiniti Engineering Academy. And in I would say your younger days, but let's be honest, you're a young guy still. So, but a few years ago, you actually built in your own garage your own race car. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so that came at a point of my teenage years that I had experience from building go-karts and hands-on very experience. And actually, after coming to the Montreal Auto Show, I saw design teams with the Formula SAE from ETS, in the university in Montreal. They had their car on display, and I saw their cars, and I got to know what kind of cars they were building. And I said to myself, well, I'll build one before I get to university. So. For sure was a simpler version, and version of a 15, 16-year-old, but still quite a good level. So I designed it on the computer using SolidWorks and did the whole design of it, and then I did the renovations in my parents' garage and installed like machines, so I could build a full chassis for a car. So I did that in the garage, bought a welding machine, and did all those sort of thing. So that project was really for me a chance to learn, while doing it, the actual project, but also using it as a portfolio later on, And like I used it during the Infiniti Academy. I talked about it, and it proved useful, and also it was useful in the past experience I had working with the Formula 1600 teams, and showing them what I had done on myself was a good way to at least have a minimal amount of trust from them to get started,
Excellent. And you mentioned your parents and working in their garage. Obviously, they've been very supportive of you. What did they say to you when you called them to tell them that you won and were going to be the Canadian representative of the Infiniti Engineering Academy?
Quite surprised, super happy for me, but I think they knew it was a tough challenge. They knew there was 9 other good candidates there, excellent candidates, and they knew it would be hard to win. So when I told them I won, they were extremely happy, and I think proud of what I had accomplished to get there. And in a way, it was like a nice a nice first chapter that ends. From when I was a kid dreaming of this, now I'm there, and it's like the next chapter.
Excellent. And when you initially set out to take on the challenge or apply to the Infiniti Engineering Academy, did you think you were going to win right from the outset?
Well, obviously you go in and you can't expect to win, but you can be confident in what you can bring and what you've got, So I was confident in myself. I knew I had done previous applications to other F1 teams to do an internship in England. So when I learned about the Infiniti Engineering Academy, it was the perfect opportunity for me. I was dreaming about that for many years, and so I applied with confidence in my skills, and I made the first cut. I had an interview, so at least I was like, all right, I got an interview. I think I can talk to them face to face and tell them I really want it, So that went really well. Someone in England interviewing me, so on Skype, so not easy, it's not face to face. So it went well, and then after that, I had a feeling I would do the 10 candidates cut, and finally made that. Also, just making the final, being in those 10 students, those 10 candidates, was awesome. The 1 day and a half, you never get that, like a day and a half of teamwork, like technical exam, panel interview. That's an awesome experience. I'm sure it would have been super useful, even though if I hadn't won the academy.
Felix, well, we were just talking about how the Infiniti Engineering Academy was one of the great outcomes of the technical partnership between Renault Sport Formula One and Infiniti Motor Company. Yeah. Can you tell us, in your own words, now that you're on the inside, what that technical partnership means to you?
Yeah. I think the technical partnership between Renault Sport and Infiniti is really about developing synergies between the two companies and learning what the other sector can help, how each other can help themselves, you know. So whether it's the automotive industry with Infiniti, learning from the pinnacle of motorsport with F1, and there's lots of things that F1 engineers have learned through the last 4 or 5 years with these new regulations that are much more oriented toward efficiency and efficiency of the powertrain and those new technologies. So I think there's great things to be learned from each sector, and F1 exactly can learn a lot from the expertise from Infiniti, which were the first one to have developed an electric car or have a hybrid car. So those technologies that Infiniti have developed through the years can really benefit Renault Sport in this new era of Formula One.
Excellent. Well, we've got the Renault Sport Formula One show car here.
Yeah.
Wondering if maybe we can walk around and take a look at how some of that technology transfer between track to road and road to track can really benefit a Formula One team as well as an automotive company like Infiniti.
Exactly. So as I was talking about the new powertrain regulations in the F1 cars of 2017 and since 2014, you have a hybrid powertrain. So you have one internal combustion engine as well as 2 electric motors that are there to recuperate energy under braking and also recuperate energy from the exhaust gases from the engine. So, so you have an MGU-H, which is connected to the turbo, and you have an MGU-K, which is connected directly to the crankshaft of the engine to recuperate kinetic energy under braking. So that's a very complex system. You know, it involves lots of challenges. If we talk about like heat management and drivability is super critical in F1. So those sort of things are super important. And the F1 engineers have developed techniques and new skills to dealing with those sort of aspects.
Going back 12 months ago, did you think you would be with me here at the Montreal International Auto Show explaining the technology behind a Formula One car?
Yeah, no, and it's not something I expected. It's something I dreamed of, surely. I remember coming here at the Montreal Auto Show as a kid and visiting all the dealers, coming to see Infinitis. I quite liked Infinitis also. And yeah, to be here representing Renault Sport, representing the Infiniti Engineering Academy is really a dream come true. I think, yeah, I could not have hoped for something better than this. You know? So,
Excellent,
yeah,
excellent.
It's awesome.
So Felix, here we are with the Renault Sport Formula One show car. Can you tell me about what you're actually working on with the Infiniti Engineering Academy right now?
Just before Christmas, I started a project related to the cooling system of the engine, and it's not the most complex project or part on the car, but at least as an intern, as a newcomer in the team, it really gives me the opportunity to do the whole process from A to Z, you know, from a concept of a part to having it made, having the drawings approved, you know, having it certified to go on the car, and then in the end having it raced with the car around the world. So it's been awesome. It's a nice little small project to get started.
And it's amazing to think that your hands will really have helped build the car for next season.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. It's you have for sure you're a tiny piece in the whole puzzle, but it's still one piece. So.
A team's a team,
Yeah,
nonetheless.
team.
Am I right?
Yeah, exactly.
Felix, how did you originally hear about the Infiniti Engineering Academy?
I first heard about it at Formula SAE Michigan in the United States with my Formula SAE team from McGill. So we were at a competition in Michigan competing with our prototype car, and I heard about it. Yeah.
And how long did the whole process take for the application?
So I applied at around May, and I won in end of July. So it's about it was 3 or 4 months process.
And what was involved in the application process to join the Infiniti Engineering Academy?
Yeah, so there was a first application online on the website, and then some of us were chosen to get a Skype interview, and then from the Skype interview, 10 candidates were chosen to be gathered at a final in Montreal, and it was a 1.5 day final, so lots of time for the judges to see you at work, see you in action. And yeah, in the end, it went well, and I'm very happy to have won.
Very good. And what was the most difficult part of the whole process?
I think the most difficult part was the final. It might sound simple or ridiculous, but coming out on top, and we had like 10 very capable candidates and very talented, and in the end, and everyone wants to win the competition, but they're putting you through teamwork activities or teamwork challenges. So what was difficult was to find the balance between your desire to win, and like the need to work in a team and show that you have the good characteristics and the good leadership skills to work with the team. So that was the most complex thing and most difficult thing. Yeah.
Excellent. And you mentioned it was a day-and-a-half long process, and there were 9 other individuals there.
Yeah.
What were some of the activities that you went through specifically?
Yeah, so we had to design and build and race a small hybrid car. So we had two slots of 2 hours to design it and build it and race it. So those were in splits in 2, so we were teams of 5 competing. That was quite challenging. The thing we were building was not super complex, but you're thrown into that team with 4 other individuals you don't know. You just need to start working right off the bat. You need to start working with them and take decisions and decide on the concept, and yeah, you need to win. So that was quite challenging. Also, we had a technical exam. We had a panel interview. I had 3 judges in front of me, and 1 engineer from Renault Sport, 1 engineer from Infiniti Technical Center Europe, and representatives from Infiniti Canada. So quite a challenging session, quite a challenging interview, quite short also, only 10 minutes. So
now this is the only manufacturer doing this with F1 in the world. So Infiniti is really at the forefront as a brand, and the Renault Sport Formula One team is really at the forefront as far as F1 goes. How would you describe or encourage others to get involved with the Infiniti Engineering Academy?
Yeah. It's not to be intimidated also, and it's at the level and more complex than lots of aerospace applications. So I would encourage anyone who has a passion for engineering, for a passion for building machines, for working in a stimulating team environment, in a competitive team environment, to really apply for the Engineering Academy and yeah, try and give it a shot. It's worth it.
And what advice would you have for others in your shoes today leading into the Infiniti Engineering Academy for 2017?
To be successful in the Infiniti Engineering Academy, I think a great level of passion is required. It's life in England. With the Infiniti Academy, and it looks really good from the outside, just like F1 looks glamorous and stuff like that. But it's hard work. It's 11, 12-hour days, 5 days a week, and sometimes on the weekends. So it's tough, but it's definitely worth it. We're at the forefront of technology with Infiniti and with Renault Sport. We're at the forefront of motorsport and the automotive industry. So having the opportunity to spend a year in the UK where it's all happening, where all the cars are designed, is just the opportunity of a lifetime.
Excellent. And so speaking of that, how do you think this is going to help you launch your career, and where do you see yourself in 5 or 10 years?
Yeah, I think this year abroad is really a year of growth as a person, as a student. It's, yes, on a technical level, but at the same time, in 6 months, you don't have time to develop an expertise in the field. And I don't think that's the purpose of doing an internship. I think it's more about getting to know the industry, making key contacts, and getting to know the people, and you learn about yourself. You learn about what you like, what you don't like. Do you prefer working on the computer? You like more be the one who communicates between the teams, the different departments. So I think during that aspect, I'm learning a lot about myself, and that's going to be very useful on a 2 years, 3 years, 4 years long-term plan, you know. So I'm coming back to McGill University for another 2 years once I'm done my internship. So I'm looking forward to that, actually, to go back to university and go back at school, because I think I'm going to appreciate it even more, and because I went in the real world, see how it is, and so I think doors will be open, but I definitely look forward to stay involved with Infiniti and Renault Sport.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for joining us here at the Montreal International Auto Show. And Felix, we've had such a great time having our 2016 winner of the Infiniti Engineering Academy here back in Canada. So thank you very much.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure.
Appreciate it.